All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's 2 p.m. Hawaii time. And I'm going to say it's probably 8 p.m. on that there East Coast and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. I'm Mad Statter. This is Chatter with Statter. And boy, am I happy to see that we have got people in the room. Because I'll tell you right now, baby dolls, I'll tell you right now, I don't have much to talk about for once, or twice, or a lot. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. So, we are going to scatter, we are going to chatter, we're going to pick up pieces of here and there to figure out what it is we can talk about. But before we do that, I am going to say hello to all the people who are in the room. Shock coming in with that there schedule, so y'all know when the flying fork to show up, dudes. Then we've got Kenny from the Cove, we've got Rick. If you ever get it right, you'll be online on time. There you go. I'm guessing If I Ever Get It Right was one of them there Lono tunes we were listening to. All right, and we've got Lady Misty, we've got Gina Gamba, we have got Darlene coming in. Let's see here, Lady Misty again, all of the Lady Misties, and then there's Gina again. And then we've got Trail Dust, yes, confirming, yes, 7 p.m. Central Time Zone. And, oh wow, is it? 4/21 is Cindy Krause's birthday. Well, Cindy Krause is probably not going to be here today then, because she's going to be busy at her house with her family. And if she's not busy at her house with her family, she's busy at her family's house, because Cindy Krause has such a warm house. Hey there, Shadow4222. Oh, you say. Good to see you there. Hope you enjoy a chat show here and again, because this is a chat show. I am Mad Statter. You're coming in, hopefully with something to talk about, because like I said earlier, I don't have a lot to talk about today. All right, and now that we're all on the same page, let's get this party started, shall we? Let's do it. Boop. Yeah, I know. I hung out there on that cat face for a little too long. That's okay. I love that cat face. So I just can't help but just stare in those green eyes. And speaking of cat faces, 2 of my kitties are snoozeling in the other room. In fact, Dusty is snoozeling so hard that when I got out of bed, I did something to him that he hates. And he was curled up on the pillow next to my head. And so I put a little blanket over him, so he looked like he was sleeping on a little bed with his little blankie pulled all the way up to his head. And he was so flippin' cute, and he normally hates that, and he will wake up and get out from under the covers because he does not like covers. He's been like that for a few hours, y'all. It was just snoozling so hard that he didn't even notice. And Shadow4222, no wonder you're doing great. Still tired from swimming and staying up until 4 a.m. at a fire on the beach. Shadow, I don't know where you're from or where you're at or whatever, but I want to be there with you, okay? I want to be there right now or yesterday, maybe tomorrow, maybe yesterday, right now, and tomorrow. If we can do it, let's do it. Swimming in the ocean, fire on the beach till 4. That, my friends, is very similar to a Lono tune we all know called Wonderful Life. What a wonderful life you're living right there. That's right, living. That's the beauty of life. Wonderful life. Awesome, dude. That sounds super awesome. I'm like totally jealous. Not just a little bit. I'm not even gonna pretend. I am like full on envious of your pursuits. That's it. And Kenny from the Cove, Mad Satter, please tell us you took a picture of my kitten snoozling away. I didn't, which, Kenny, I will admit is weird, because if you go through my phone or if you go through all my pictures on my computer, I am gonna go out on a limb and say that 40 to 50% of my pictures, and I really do, I mean this with no hyperbole, I really do mean, like, going through mentally, I'll bet you 40 to 50% of my pictures, let's just say 45% of my pictures are nothing but my animals. sleeping. Because they just look so cute when they're asleep. And I can't be the only one who takes pictures of my animals when they're asleep. And so if you ever want to see a picture of animals sleeping, well, you know who to ask. Now, I don't have any of these pictures lined up, so I'd have to show you a different video and get some pictures lined up to show you pictures of my kitties sleeping, but I could. But the thing is they're two black cats that are asleep. Pretty much the pictures are all the same, right? I mean, and exactly, Shock, everything is cute when they're asleep, precisely. Except for the two grandkids. They're the cutest when they're playing soccer, and that's what Darlene get to spend the afternoon doing, watching the grandkids play soccer. And Rick coming in with the reality. Darlene's like, we love the grandkids, everything's wonderful. And Rick's like, 4 hours in the April sun. That's how to get sunburned and freeze at the same time. There you go, Rick, exactly, coming in with the reality check. And Kenny, exactly, everybody who has an animal can relate. You have pictures of Hobbs sleeping, probably a billion pictures of Hobbs sleeping, everybody. And Darlene's pictures might be a little bit different. She takes lots of pictures too, flowers, grandkids, foods I've cooked, so many pics. Yes, that is true, Darlene, but my question to you is, of the pictures that you've taken of your grandkids, are a few of them when they're sleeping? Because they're just so cute when they're sleeping. I guess it's a little bit creepy to take pictures of people while they're asleep, as opposed to animals while they're asleep, right? You know? Now that I think about it. But since it's not creepy to take pictures of animals while they're asleep, I will admit to it openly and freely. In regards to taking pictures of people who are asleep, I think I've only done that like once or twice in my life, and that was when people were like passed out drunk and it was like funny pictures. So I'm only a little bit of a creep in that way, just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right, so let's see here. Let's see, what do we have today? Okay, I know what I do have today. And Kenny from the Cove, I wish I would have taken a pic the last time he crawled up and zonked out on your chest. Buggo looked so peaceful. Yep, you fell asleep too. There you go. There you go. And Darlene admits, yes, sleepyhead's so innocent when sleeping. I have plenty of pics too of the 3 dogs we've had. Of course, of course. And let's see here. Rick coming in. The funny part is the older grandkid was the ref for the younger grandkid's soccer game. Oh no, so yeah, no breaks there. And of course, exactly, Gina, some of the cutest pictures you have of Pippin were when he was snoozing. Exactly. Exactly. And hey, Mama Sean, coming in from Arizona, saying it's a beautiful evening here in the Valley of the Sun. Excellent, excellent. Now, good to see you here. Absolutely super stoked you're here, Mama Sean. Like I said earlier, the more the merrier, because I've got not a whole lot on my mind right now to talk about, so who knows where we're gonna chatter, what we're gonna chatter about. So anybody who's got ideas about things, it's on the table, let me just tell you right now. And Shock, you have a few sleepy cat pics, but you also have a lot of stink eye cat pics. Yes indeed, those are equally easy to get. Yes. Now, Rick, when you're saying that the older grandkid was the referee, and so no breaks there, was there concern amongst the spectators, the parents, the sports people, that there might be a bias with the relative as the referee? I know that my friend Dell, he had a daughter, well, still has a daughter, who was in junior roller derby. She has since become too old for junior roller derby, but when she was in junior roller derby, Dell was one of the referees for a game that she was playing, and the opposing team and a couple other refs were concerned that Dell would be able to be unbiased when reffing his daughter. Dell basically was like, look, I do admit that I might be a little bit biased with my daughter, but I'm probably going to be holding her to a higher standard than anybody else. So if she so if I'm gonna be, it would be a case of calling her more than often than other players. But actually, that's not what he did. However, the very first penalty of the game that he did call was on his own daughter for a false start. It was a blatant false start. Everyone saw it. There was no not calling her on that foul. And so he pretty much got off the hook from the very get-go with, the tweet, calling his daughter off the track for a penalty within the first 3 seconds of the game. So, and let's see here. Oh, it's a 9-year-old kids league. Other parents are just happy when they don't have to do it. Got it. And let's see here. Do I see that Andy Boomatai just came in with where's the most awkward place you fell asleep? That is a really good question, y'all. And Andy, I'm very glad that you dropped this seed of conversation. Let's see here. Shock, you slept at a table in the Power Station nightclub one time. You were annoyed at your date. Now, Shock, I'm not trying to let you know what your date was thinking. My best guess is he was annoyed at you too. If you fell asleep. And the Power Station, isn't that a famous nightclub? Or the Power Station, wasn't that a famous recording studio? Feel like it was a famous recording studio. And let's see here. Mama Sean got lots of pictures of the puppy and the cat with Mad Statter and Lono in the background during the chat. Awesome. And let's see here. Church, Kenny from the Cove. I would imagine that Kenny, that you're not the first person, Kenny, to fall asleep in church. And Verity, good to see you. We're talking about the most awkward place you've fallen asleep. Now, y'all, I don't want to spin off on this, and this is not a topic of conversation other than the sleeping part that we're going to focus on, but holy flirking snit, y'all. Did I hear right? Did our former president fall asleep in court the other day? Because honestly, you guys, you can fall asleep at the store, which is kind of funny, Lady Misty, sorry. You can fall asleep at church. You can fall asleep at a rock club. You can fall asleep, I don't care where, but falling asleep during your own criminal trial has got to be one of the most awkward, bad things you could possibly do. Now, Kenny, you fell asleep in the movie theater, which is absolutely logical. It's dark there. Obviously, the movie Indecent Proposal was not very enthralling to you, but I can totally see why your date was annoyed. And then, hold on, Darlene, yes, I'd be too nervous and scared in court to fall asleep. Yes, exactly. And Rick, yep, fell asleep, was past his jail time. Oh, you're so funny, dude. And, oh my gosh, I hadn't heard this because I'm sure, even though there's so much to laugh at in this situation, I'm sure they are trying to treat this court with a little bit of respect. And so I did not hear that he did a lot of farting while he was asleep as well. But I'm not gonna say that I'm surprised, because I'll tell you what, I have no doubt in my mind that once you fall asleep and you're relaxed enough, you're gonna start to relax enough that things might start relaxing. I had not heard that though, but apparently Terry in Scotland had heard that, and Terry, oh, you're brilliant. Odor in the court. Bam, bam, bam. Odor in the court. That is it. That is so funny. Okay, Mad Satter. Apparently, if you have dementia, you have disruptions in sleep and can wind up napping during the day. In any case, court is boring, even if you're making history. Okay, and oh, Rick, that was a Jimmy Kimmel line. Okay, got it. That's a good line. That's a good line. And Kenny tried to fall asleep in the Lampasas County drunk tank, but the other drunks wouldn't let you. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my gosh, shock. I had no idea the Brits are lit up because to Trump in England is to fart. Oh, that is funny. That is funny. And Darlene, and he is older too. We all know what happens when we age. Actually, to tell you the truth, Darlene, the only thing that I know what happens when you age, and this is, I've heard this from so many people, is you never, after 50, never trust a fart. And I think we all know what that might mean. And if you don't know what that might mean, then clearly you have trustworthy farts. Yes, you do. You have them. They're trustworthy. And Dr. Steve's mama fell asleep while watching Star Wars with Sense Around when it first came out. We had no idea she could sleep with that sound. And Verity, that is exactly it. When you when you accidentally trust one, and you realize it was untrustworthy. And let's see here. Terry in Scotland, have I read the chart of the deal? No. And you especially can't trust a fart during a colonoscopy prep. That is most likely true. I am 50 years old, about to be 51, and I've never had that yet. I know I'm supposed to, so y'all can yell at me all you want. It's on the list of things to do. But as you can admit, as I'm sure you guys understand, it never quite reaches the top of the list of things to do. Because there's always something else I'd rather do before that. So, yeah. And speaking of trusting a fart, I don't have this video loaded up, but I might actually grab it to load it up, because it's funny. And it's a comedy song. I think it's on my YouTube page. I went to a comedy club and one of the comedians had a guitar and she was doing a little funny song. And after about the first verse, I was just like, dude, this is a funny song. I need to be recording it. So I didn't get the whole thing. And unfortunately, she's never been back. So I can't have her do it. But yeah, it is on my YouTube page. Okay, I didn't just lie. But I might actually, given the topic of this conversation, I might pull that up. I might pull that up to just put a cherry on top of this particular conversation. And Kenny, when you finally go, make sure they know you want to be sedated. See, I've never heard of... I've heard that you can be, but I've never known anybody to do that. And... it sounds like, though, Darlene did it that way. Do it, you're sleeping through it. The prep is the worst, better to have a look-see to ensure all is well before it would be too late. All right, you guys. I'll try to put it on my list of things to do. Top 3 things to do. All right. I don't know. Verity, do they do them awake? Yeah, everybody I've ever known has had them, they've been awake during them. And Andre, the conversation is going to the butt. Yep, unfortunately, that is where we're at right now. I know Andy is horrified at this point. Andy's like, I had a perfectly innocent question that people were enjoying, and suddenly we're getting all scatological. Andy's just like, this is the one rule I have. Let's just not get scatological. And then Andy, I guess I have to say, I don't share that rule, unfortunately. I don't know. I try to be good. I try to honor the rules. But here we are, and I'm just breaking them. And let's see here. Shock. Okay, Shock, the colonoscopy nap was the best one you'd ever had. Yeah, that makes sense for you because you do probably have a trouble falling asleep and taking quick little naps. So medically induced naps are probably very, very handy dandy. And let's see here. Kenny, I was knocked out, didn't want to be aware of what was up at the scene of the crime, so to speak, as it were. Got it. And Shock, a friend of yours has Crohn's. He gets them so often he's just awake. Well, yeah, my friends aren't that much of a frequent flyer, shall we say, of the event. But yeah, my mom, my aunt, my boss's husband, my friend on Facebook just recently, actually, like earlier this week, mentioned it. And and yes, there we go. It's statological, says Terry. Let's do that. And I know, right, Rick? Rules? What are the rules? And Darlene is shocked, awake for a colonoscopy. No one I know has been awake. I agree with you, Kenny. I don't want to be awake either. Interesting. And Shock, I'm not going to read that because, yeah, exactly. Good question, and we'll leave that question unanswered. Okay, all right. So, let's see here. Wow, Mama Sean, everybody you know has had a nap. I'm going to have to revisit this with the people that I swear to God you had a choice between one or t'other. And I swear that most of my people choose not to. And by my people, I just mean people I know. I mean, they don't really belong to me. I'm not, I don't own any people. And, Lady Misty, you're just gonna eat your black jelly beans then. I don't think that they want black jelly beans before a colonoscopy, right? And oh, no one asked you, huh? Verity, they just put you under. Interesting. All right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go find the funny song that I want to share with you guys. But before I do that, or while I do that, Andy, okay, Darlene, he's telling Darlene, I've done colonoscopy twice, fully awake. See, I'm not making that up. I knew that you could get them done fully awake. And so, Andy, way to be badass, or good ass, or anyway, way to come to my support. Thank you. And, okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to show you a video that you guys have already seen. But it's a remake of a video you guys have already seen. And, hopefully it's better than it was. I re-edited it to, I don't know if it's any better, but what I do know is the season of cherry blossoms has since passed, and even if this video didn't turn out the way I hoped it would turn out, it still is. I did down convert, Shock, I did, but I still just don't know. I think it looks better, but I might just want to think it looks better. Anyway, this is a video of the cherry blossoms with a Lono tune called Do Spirits Fly, or Spirits Do Fly, or something like that. Anyway, while we're watching the little cherry blossom tunnel video, I'm going to see if I can find the other video about, what we were talking about. So, let's see if I can find my cherries. There we go. Here's the cherry blossoms, and we'll be back in a bit. Boop. I was so busy thanking Andre for the gift sub that the video ended really quick. I forgot how quick that video was. So, there we have it, Rabbit. We have confirmation. Most of the time, you don't get a choice, it sounds like, says Andy. You have to let them know you do not want to be sedated. So, let's see here. And Kenny, oh, Kenny. Given the topic of this conversation, I don't know if you're threatening to take me to the colonoscopy or what, but here Kenny says, oh, by the way, I know one of the things you're getting for an early birthday present this year. Is that a threat, Kenny? Are you threatening me with a colonoscopy? Are you going to make an appointment with my doctor? Probably would be a really good birthday present, actually, now that I think about it, but don't do that. Exactly, Andre. Nothing says happy birthday like a high colonic. I just knocked something off my desk. I have no idea what it was. Oh, no, it's a fun thing. It's a fun thing. Who says colonoscopies aren't fun? Besides everyone. And let's see here. Terry, with all of the, God, Terry, you know, you've got such the great sounds, with your stream. You installed a new channel point sound today called Blinding Lights, played by Dieter Ruel, we'll say. Organist for the LA Kings. You love you some hockey organ music. There you have it. And, that could replace the green Prel dot. The colonoscopy threat, perhaps? And, okay, I'll probably want to share it with the Statterbox crew. All right, well, then it's definitely not a colonoscopy, because that is not anything anybody wants to share. And yes, exactly, Andy. When you get to be awake, you get to enjoy the high-resolution big screen view of exactly where the sun does not shine. And I don't know if I really necessarily want to watch that, but I don't like coming off of anesthesia. Anesthesia makes me feel sick. I just don't like it. I've been put under enough times. I just don't like it. So I'd really rather, probably rather, I mean, I don't know, actually. I guess I'd have to do it both ways to find out which way I'd rather do it. And I'd rather not do it at all. But, but you know, there you go. And Mama Sean, I would prefer it with the nap. I can see the logic there. I just don't like coming down off of that. It makes me feel groggy. In fact, today I felt like I was maybe coming down off of anesthesia. I was so flippin' groggy. And, Shock, you've had propofol? You've had, let's see here, hold on. That was like just being awake, no after effects. No, well, you know, you know what, Chuck? I have no idea. I've had so many different surgeries where I've had to be put under that I don't know what I've had. I just had what they gave me. So, I don't know. I have no idea. And, exactly, Andy. And you need someone to drive you home if you go under, which, yeah, I'm a little too independent for that. I don't want somebody to have to wait around for my thing and then, yeah, exactly. And, Kenny, going into the test, you were picturing the alien camera probe from War of the Worlds. I was pretty worried. I don't know what that looked like, but unless it's a tiny camera, I can only assume that the camera is not that big, right? I mean, it's not like it's going to be one of those things that you see on a dolly at a Hollywood movie scene. And, okay, so Mama Sean coming in with, oh, they have new anesthesia, and there was no grogginess after. Nurse said it's new stuff. I was way surprised. Okay, that's cool. And Andre, you've only been put out for your wisdom teeth to be removed. Yeah, I was put out for that too. But, let's see, yeah, I was put out for my adenoids being removed when I was little. The wisdom teeth probably was the next one. Then yeah, I've had a bunch of surgeries. Yeah, my ankle, I've been put down many times. Although not put down because that sounds like I'm being put to sleep like a puppy, and we know that that's not what we're talking about. All right, you guys. So on that note, I want to share with you a funny little short song. And let's see here. I could totally have driven after my procedure, but I followed the rule. I wonder if they don't want you driving to the procedure while hangry. Well, you know, actually, if you haven't been eating for a few days, because I know that there's a bunch of different ways that you can prep for it. You can drink the stuff that makes it go, or you can fast for like 3 days. So if you haven't been eating for 3 days, you might not be very safe behind the wheel, actually, before or after the appointment, regardless of anesthesia. Because fasting for 3 days is, you know, you're gonna have some lower blood sugar, I'm gonna guess, right? So, all right, you guys, this is somebody else's song, and I wish I could tell you whose song it was, but I didn't get the name, so I didn't. But this is a funny song. I wish I had the entire song. I wish I had the entire song, but I don't. So now we're just gonna listen to the last part of the song, but you're still gonna giggle unless you're not. But either way, here we go.
I hope they can't smell what I can. I sharded so hard I can hardly stand. When you think it is a bar, but it ends up being more. Pushed too hard, now there's shit on the floor. My heart is broken, my pants are soaking. I'm falling apart, 'cause I trusted afar. There's a brown spot on my ass. I've never felt so deceived. It was supposed to be just a fart, is what I believed. Sing it with me. When you think it is a fart, but it ends up being more. Pushed too hard, now there's shit on the floor. My heart is broken, my pants are soaking. I'm falling apart, 'cause I trusted afar. I'm falling apart, 'cause I trusted afar. Thank you.
Give it up for Jordan D.
So I don't know, Jody D or something was the lady's name, but all I know is wise words. And Andy, what comedy club is this? It's actually not a comedy club. It is a club called The Flight Path, and it's they have open mic comedy every Wednesday night. Sign up at 8. Mic starts at 8:30, goes until 8:30 till 10:30, or earlier if there's not enough comedians. And it's a pretty wild crowd, actually. The darker the humor, the more better it goes over. The more racial the humor, oddly enough, the more better it goes over. A lot of comedians who work different rooms in the area have noted that the Flight Path is unlike any other room ever. It's a tough room. You will get heckled. It will happen. The gentleman who Luke Severide is a local comedian who put this open mic together. He's the producer. He doesn't perform every Wednesday because sometimes he's got actual shows. But he's the one who put this show together. Pretty much everybody knows that Luke is the godfather of that night. And even when Luke comes in, Luke has a hard time with the crowd. Like, he's just like every other room I go to, he's just like, you know, they love me, they laugh me. Here, this is my stage, and I feel like I have to prove myself every time I come here because we're just mean is what it is, I guess. I'm not mean. In fact, I've had the many comedians compliment me after the show, or even during their set. They're just like, "You're a good audience member. I'm just telling my jokes to you right now," because I'll laugh. I'm not mean, but let me tell you, dude, it's a tough room. I've only gone on stage twice there, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking. And Andre, what night? Wednesday night, and it's free, which is really awesome. It's a 2-hour free show. I mean, obviously it's not free if you're going to be drinking drinks, but if you're going to be at the bar drinking drinks, you're going to be drinking drinks anyway. It's a very economical night. You know, their drinks are not that expensive. There's no minimums. There's no cover at the door. And the sets are 4 to 5 minutes long. If you're a really good comedian, they sometimes, and you let them know, they sometimes give you a longer set. But it's a cute room, and apparently people know about it, because like this one guy from Oklahoma, over the holiday, break, like late December, early January, when like colleges and stuff are out, we got a lot of people who obviously had not had been away at school. Well, this guy, I don't know if he was from Oklahoma, so I think it was just coincidental. Anyway, he ended up at the Flight Path, and I can't for the life of me remember his name. I've got it written down, but oh my God, dude, he was the funniest guy. He, without a doubt, won the night. His 5-minute set, and he was just reading his notes off of his note paper, but he was so Mitch Hedberg-esque. His delivery, his comedy style, just his observations of the world. He was like Mitch Hedberg had come back to life. I loved that guy so much. If I could remember what his name was, I would totally tell you all, because he's worth watching for. But yeah, definitely a cute club. And Andy, to tell you the truth, I do have that club. Flight Path is a club that I do think, if y'all ever do come up to the Pacific Northwest again, the Flight Path is absolutely a room that is totally the perfect size that I think you would be thinking of. It's a little bit bigger than the club in San Francisco, but not maybe quite as big as the room in Sacramento. But the room it's a sizable room. And then they, for the comedy stuff, though, they usually try to push all the tables and chairs up to the front to make it more intimate. But yeah, it's a good sized room, and I mean, it might not be the best for comedy, but it's a low ceiling. You can hear the laughter. I don't know. It's a pretty good. I have that. If y'all end up coming back, that is an option for for where you might want to think about going. And yes, Mama Sean, Severide, very, very, very Pacific Northwest name. We got a lot of Scandahoovians up here, and let me tell you, Luke is a Scandahoovian like nobody's business. Tall man, big lumberjack-looking Scandinavian guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And let's see here. Yeah, you should, Andre, check that out when you get up here. And let's see here. Kenny, there are definitely not enough stand-up comedians these days. This country needs to seriously unclench and laugh way more than we do. I agree, but actually, here's the deal, dude. There are a lot of comedians. You just have to know where to find them. Now, we grew up during the 80s heyday era of comedy clubs here, comedy clubs there, this, that, and the other thing. Comedy clubs are way more difficult to find these days, but they are there. And if you can't find a comedy club, you can find clubs that have comedy nights. And really, it's important to go support the local comedians. It's important to go support the small name traveling comedian that you've never heard of. Because, like I said, this open mic comedy night that I go to almost every Wednesday, it's 4 or 5 minutes for every set. So if the person sucks, they're going to be off in 5 minutes or less. And if the person's great, well, you've got 5 minutes of laughter. And it's a free show, for God's sake. You go to laugh, you laugh, it's a wonderful thing, and you support. And my point, though, I'm rambling, I know, but that's the whole point of this show is me rambling. The dude from Oklahoma, you never know who you're gonna see. You might actually see a star being born, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so, and let's see here. You loved watching comedy. Even the older comedians are funny. You think the older comedians, says Shock, are probably just better and more experienced. I'm not gonna take a side as to older comedians are better at this, and I'm using only the template of this open mic night. But I will say that some of the younger comedians who eventually might be funny don't have enough life experience to create stories that are funny. Like, if you're a 25-year-old dude who still lives with your dad, I don't really want to hear jokes about how bad your dad's farts smell. Like, that just says to me that you're a small child who doesn't know how to live. Find something else to be funny. You know, whereas the older people, while they may not have delivery, they at least have stories that are a little bit funny. And, Shock, Eddie Murphy had a bit about being 15 and trying to do comedy with no life experience. Precisely, dude. It's just, I mean, like I said, what this one particular comedian that I am thinking of, who's very young, one day he will be funny. I know that. But right now, he's not. He's just the topics that he has to talk about are just like, okay, little boy, you're so cute. He will be good one day, but not right now. And let's see here, Kenny, you miss going to, what was it, the Velveeta Room? I miss going to the Velveeta Room in Austin. Not even sure if it's still down on 6th Street. You howled with laughter more times than you can count at that place. All right, the Velveeta Room, interesting. And Kenny, George Carlin became unfunny late in his career. Toward the end, he was just bitter, angry, and judgmental. You know, it's funny you should say that, because that does take comedy down. Lorne Michaels said that back in the day when our former president, who's now falling asleep in court, when he was in charge, he had somebody in his staff, I'm not remember, might have been the press secretary, I don't remember who it was, but whoever it was, oh no, it might have been, Steve Bannon? Anyway, he had one of his cronies, his hanger-ons, and people wondered why Saturday Night Live didn't get, what's her name? McDonald. Rosie McDonald. Why they didn't get Rosie McDonald to do an imitation of him. Because Rosie McDonald would have been, is that her name? Rosie McDonald, whatever. Because she would have made, everybody could see it. She was a natural. She was a natural to, like, dress up like him and act like him and be stupid and angry like him. But Lorne Michaels didn't fall for that. Rosie O'Donnell, thank you. God, I couldn't, just so bad. But Lorne Michaels said no. Yes, that seems like it would. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell. Yes, that seems like a perfect match. But Rosie would portray him angrily. Because Rosie was very much against that presidency. And she even though she's a comedian, her viewpoint, her anger at the office, or at the man in the office, would have come through. And Lorne's like, you cannot do parodies or imitations, can't even remember what the word is, not impersonations. You can't do them coming from a place of anger. It's just not funny. If you're coming from a place of anger, it's not gonna be funny. And Rosie would have been coming from a place of anger, which is why they chose Melissa McCarthy, the crazy lady from all sorts of movies that I can't remember. God, I just don't even know how to say words. They're just jarred. And yes, impressions. You don't do impressions from a place of anger. They're just never gonna be funny. And let's see here. Andre, like Eddie Murphy movie Raw, he was just angry and vicious against groups. His only movie that was really not good. There you go. There you go. Shock, you thought they got Alec Baldwin. Yeah, Alec Baldwin played the man, but Melissa McCartney, we're gonna call her Melissa McCartney. She played the the press secretary guy. I want to say his name was Sean Spicer. Is that a name? I want to say it was Sean Spicer. Anyway, no, Alec Baldwin played the man, but Melissa McCarthy, whatever her last name is, she played this other guy. And hey, C Honda, good to see you. You are watching me flounder. Welcome to me floundering over everything I'm trying to talk about. And okay, Spicer, it was Spicer. There you go. Yeah. Melissa McCarthy played a way better Spicer than Rosie McDonald could have. And I do believe that Lorne Michaels was behind that choice. I know he was. He said, no, Rosie O'Donnell, not going to happen. She's going to come at it from an angry point of view, and angry won't equal funny. And let's see here. Kenny, when you saw Carlin 85, he totally slayed. When you saw his shows on HBO, it was just sad. Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, though, it's hard not to get bitter. It is hard not to get bitter sometimes. And so much of George Carlin's material was political and pointed commentary. And after a while, after basically making the same points for 35 years and nothing has changed, I'd be a little annoyed and bitter as well, I think, right? I mean, I don't know. But, all right, you guys. C Honda is in the house. It is that time. It's a little bit after that time, actually. So why don't we take a Lono listening break, and then when we come back, I don't know what we'll talk about. No, let's figure out what we'll talk about. But right now, here's Lono. All right, thanks. Bye. Or not bye. Break. Boop.
Ku apaka. Molokai. Kuapaka o Molokai, nui ka makani o hola a mau, kaulana koinoa e ola mau, Molokai nui e hinga. Hauali a o kanaka kai, uki uki o kalamaula. Ai, o kamili loa, Molokai nui a hina. Ihuanu o ka vela, he ka hanui o ka malo, he a kai, o ka lailoa, Molokai nui a hina. O lehua o ualapu e ki puka holo o kalua aha pu'ulolo o mapulehu Molokai nui a hina. Mona ihelea o kainalu ke hao o aialua alo pali o hono uli Molokai nui a hina. Moa kea o pu o hoku halawa nui a me ki o halawa
All right, there you have it. That was Kuapaka'a. And if you want to learn more about Kuapaka'a, just check out the book, The Wind Gourd of La'amaumau, I believe is what it's called. You'll hear all about the story of the clever child that Kuapaka'a was. In short, the story is a story of revenge. You see, Kuapaka'a, their father, was one of the king's side men, most honored advisors, and a bunch of little nasty busybodies decided that Paka'a wasn't such a good advisor, and so they whispered bad words into the king's ear, and he was relieved of his duties, and those two little whisperers became the trusted advisors to the king. And so Paka'a had a plan. He took his son Kuapaka'a and told him all of the things he needed to know to set this plan into play. And thanks to the wind gourd that Kuapaka'a held, he controlled the winds of Molokai. And let's just say, the father ended up getting his revenge, and I will not tell you how. But it's a good little story. And let's see here. Cola T is here, bragging about her exploits here. Might have burned 1,000 calories walking your Okole up and down a gazillion stairs to hillside overlooks. Pretty scenery, was worth it though. Good to see you here. And let's see here. Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. We've got all sorts of things that happened since I stopped this video. So Shock does have heat, so that is good. And let's see here. Verity, how I wish I could just blink myself there. You and me both, girl. That's the superpower that I wish that I had. If I wish that I had one superpower, it would just be teleportation. That is my superpower. And Andre bragging about getting the Korean barbecue his way. Yum. And then Terry in Scotland coming in with the trapped baby orca off of Vancouver Island. Is that the same one that I talked about a few weeks ago, or is that a brand new one? I don't really know. So let's see here. And Kenny from the Cove, or Terry in Scotland's letting Kenny know that it lost its pod somehow. And so let's see here. Yes, teleportation is the best superpower. I don't really think that there's any argument. I mean, we could talk about what a better superpower would be, but I feel like teleportation is the absolute, right? And wait, what is going on with my... Something's going on with my face. There we go. But here, let's see here, though. Terry, now is this the same? I'm not going to click on this link yet, although I will. Trust me, I will. But Terry, is this the same? Is this the same baby orca that whose mom was trying to hunt for it, and then the mom got stranded on land, and then died, and then the baby orca was trapped in the cove, unable to get out? Because the way the tides are, there's really only like 20 minutes each tidal cycle that it's deep enough for the whales to get in and out of that cove. Is that one, or is this a whole different one? And then also, speaking of orcas, okay, Terry, you're not sure of the circumstances. Okay, well, you guys, we might have to delve into this. Mama Sean, you think it's the same one. I kind of hope it's the same one, because if not, that's two in one season, and that's just bad. But Andre, I think it was Andre, or maybe it was Kenny. You were talking about, were you joking, or did you hear, somebody posted something about dolphins hiding in the southern resident orca pods to stay away from Big's transients? I don't know what you're talking about. Is that a thing, or is that something you were just making up? Because if that's something that's actually happening, then I'm very curious as to what that, I'm very curious about that. I had not heard about that. Kenny, orcas, I called it. You know, Kenny, honestly, food and orcas are always the two best things just to fall back on. What are we going to talk about? Food. What are we going to talk about? Orcas. What are we going to talk about? Eating orcas for food. We're not going to eat orcas for food. We're not. But let's see here. Shock is saying to Honda, you had a new compressor put in last week, but it doesn't run super cold, so it's back over. Ah, okay, got it. So your air conditioner might not be so happy. Yes, we are so lovably predictable. Pretty much. It's comfortable chat here. We try not to talk about things that are too uncomfortable. Okay, look. I'm totally lying because we just spent about 20 minutes talking about colonoscopies, and I've never heard anybody say that a colonoscopy was comfortable. So I guess we actually do talk a little bit about uncomfortable things. But, no pun intended when I said but. There we go. All right, so Mama Sean coming in. There were deep sea dolphins close to land somewhere recently. Can't remember if it was Hawaii or somewhere else. Okay. I am very curious about that. But let's see here. What do we have here? Because I really do want to know about that little orca. Let's see here. All right. Well, right. That link is from Global News. Global News. Okay, my best guess is it's probably glad you got a giggle out of that, Andy. I felt it was a little bit corny, but I kind of had to go there, right? Anyway, so all right, so while you guys, let's see here. Oh, I know what I can do. Well, maybe I can do it. Let's see. Find the link again. There we go. I want to copy that link. And, wait, what? Hold up. Okay, we're gonna watch this link when we can, but somebody just... All right, Mama Sean, I just turned it down a smidge. Hopefully that'll help. Thank you for coming in with my ears. And see, Honda, you just had a colonoscopy. The tough part was 2 weeks with no red meat. I have never heard of that before. Explain to me, all y'all. Okay, you guys, we're going back to an uncomfortable topic. That's right. We're going back to the back. Yeah, that's right, the back. No red meat. No red meat. I mean, actually, here's the deal. I don't eat a lot of red meat, and I can probably go for 3 weeks without ever eating red meat. But the simple fact that I'm not allowed to eat the red meat will suddenly mean I need to eat all the steak and hamburgers in the world. So, yeah, exactly. Yep, we're talking about myself again. So has anybody else been given this instruction? No red meat for 3 weeks. This is the first I've heard of this, y'all. Is this for real? Or C. Honda, is your doctor just a sadomasochist or just a sadist? He might be a sadomasochist, but is he just a sadist? What's the deal, man? What's the deal, man? What's the deal, man? Anybody? Anybody? All y'all seem to have had him before. Okay, Shock, you've never heard of that before. Okay. Because, no, I have totally never heard of that before. I have heard something about there are some things that they don't want you to eat beforehand because they can get mistaken for blood. But I don't, yeah, non-red, I was going to say, you can't eat the red Jell-O, and your prep rules were only non-red Jell-O and clear liquids, and that was only for 4 days. And Mama Shaw, nothing that you were told. And C. Honda, also for 5 days, no seeds or nuts. I can definitely see that logic. And yeah, no red dye things. I've heard of that as well, because they can mistake that for problematic areas. But red meat? Okay, now my next question is, what is red meat? Let me specify, what do they consider red meat? I've been told that things like pork are actually red meat, even though I've also been told pork is a white meat, because pork did, at least for a little while, advertise itself as the other white meat. But I did have a pharmacist friend tell me, no, it's actually red meat. So I'm curious what the doctor considered red meat. Just beef? Is emu considered red meat? Because I feel like it is. Not that people eat a lot of emu, but still. So I'm wondering, is bacon considered red meat? Is bacon considered red meat? Very curious about that. And let's see here. What Lono tune is in the background? I don't know. I don't have my sound up. I can't remember what song this is. Okay, so the U categories pork as white meat. They still let you have coffee, says Kenny, and you still had your carnitas, says C Honda. Okay. And okay, so as it turns out, Andre was not just making things up. And that link is before the little orca swims away. Oh, okay, scatter, don't scatter. Click that link before the little orca swims away. Oh, Terry, you know me all too well. You got to keep me on that flippin' short leash. But Andre, yes, okay, so there is some Pacific white-sided dolphins hanging out with the southern residents. Interesting. But we're not going to talk about that yet. We might talk about it later. We might talk about it now. Not now. Now we're going to I don't know exactly what we're gonna do, but we're going to do this, and then well, that didn't work out very well. Uh-oh, hold on. Oh no, where did the link go? I need the link. Hey, Terry, do you think you could throw down that link one more time? Because I don't think... I thought I copied and pasted it, but I don't think I did. So, could you... Oh yeah, no, that didn't work. Oh, wow! Oh, I just learned how to do something, though. Not that I wanted to do it, but I just learned how to do it. Let's see here. Okay, but it's not letting me do that. God dang it. And we'll get there eventually, you guys. It might be like 3 seconds before we're done, but we'll get there. And Shock, I can see how if you know there are certain foods that upset your digestion, you should avoid them. Your doctor would have to throw down a compelling reason to tell me not to have steak. Exactly. All right, so let's see if we can do that one more time. Does that mean to inspect? Oh, I don't. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. And then what? Why can't this do the thing? Ooh. Oh, I think I did the thing. Okay, sorry you guys, this is like way more complicated than it needed to be. But,
I hope they can't smell what I can. I sharded so.
This historic opportunity. We don't need more government bureaucracy. We need internet for all.
Hands free.
It's a sight the entire Ihattissat First Nation has been waiting to see. Quisahayas finally feeding. The 2-year-old orca calf eating seal meat like she would in her natural habitat. It's the first confirmed meal she's eaten in 27 days.
I think it was joy, really. I think the joy of the meal.
And seeing that now gives us some options, gives us time. Given that she was showing subtle changes in body condition, it's real important that she's getting those nutrients, so we're really happy.
It's a game changer for the nation and DFO, who were prepped and primed to make their second rescue attempt Friday, a multi-day mission with dozens of experts from around the province now put on hold.
We're looking at all these options about how we can use, first of all, make sure the animal's healthy with seal, but also, using as an attractant to move the animal within the lagoon, possibly out of the lagoon.
For the first time, we can share with you Quisahayas' cries for help. Her calls recorded by researchers using a hydrophone, likely gone unheard by her pod out in open ocean. Brave Little Hunter's welfare sparking interest from all over BC, from musicians hoping to serenade the killer whale to safety, to the Prime Minister.
I think we're all following this story attentively. It is heartbreaking, and we're all worried. So I have ensured that Department of Fisheries and Oceans has reached out to the community, and we're going to continue to engage with them.
In the meantime, Ihattissat First Nation has launched a GoFundMe page to recoup the costs of housing and feeding the team, working on a long rescue mission that's not over yet. In Zabelos, Cassidy Mosconi, Global News.
When I found out what these symbols really mean, I almost stopped.
Yeah, Kenny, right with you. Like, that was sort of a brutal punch in the gut when they played those cries, because I don't care what species you are. The tone of those vocalizations are universal. That was cries for help. Those were distress calls. You don't have to know how to speak whale. You don't know how to have to speak dog when you hear a dog in distress. You don't know that was a universal. Yeah, that was a universal. And yeah, so for those of, good for you, Verity, very probably a good plan. Yeah, so for those who aren't sure what the heck this is all about, this is indeed the same baby orca whose mom was trying to teach it how to hunt seal. This is taking place on the northern end of Vancouver Island. So it is still in the Salish Sea. And these are Biggs transient orcas, by the way. And for those of you who haven't hung out here long enough, hey, Hawaiian 5-0, good to see you hanging out B&K. No worries, no worries. So for those of you who don't hang out here on Chatter with Statter enough to have any idea what I'm talking about, in the Pacific Northwest, there's at least 4 different types of orcas. There's our southern resident orcas, they eat salmon. There's also northern resident orcas. They also eat salmon, but they hang out further north in in Alaska and in Canada. The southern residents are more the Salish Sea, Puget Sound, lower Vancouver, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon area. Those are 2 types. Then we've got the Biggs transients. They eat sea mammals, like seals. And then we've got the deep ocean ones. And I don't really know what they eat other than shark liver, but they're very rare. So for the most part, we've got 3 that hang out in the Pacific Northwest. And for the most part, we've got 2 that hang out in the Salish Sea. The transients, they eat the mammals, and the residents, they eat the salmon. So the transients obviously, this one is a transient because it eats the seals. One mom and their little 2-year-old baby went into a cove about 27 days ago, and the mom was trying to teach it how to hunt seal. The mom went and basically landed herself and stranded herself on the land. They tried to rescue the mom. The mom perished. So now the baby has been in that lagoon for 27 days by itself. And this is the first time they've seen it eating. So that's very handy and helpful. That is indeed the same orca from about a month ago. But I had no idea that it was still stuck in there. And I'm super glad that she's starting to eat now. So we'll see, we'll I guess see just exactly what the flying fork is going to happen with that little hunter is what they've named her. Obviously, little hunter actually is the English version of the name that they have given her. I don't know specifically what tribe of First Nations people are helping to spearhead this rescue, so I don't know what language they've named her in, but the English version of their name would be what is known as Little Hunter. And let's see here. Andre, super stoked. She's eating and that all of Canada cares so much and that the Prime Minister is talking around it. Yeah. I think that's pretty awesome because honestly, I don't feel like the same attention would be given by our president if something like this happened in, say, the Puget Sound waters. Now, that being said, I also admit Canada and the United States are involved in two very different political circumstances right now. So I'm not saying that Biden would be neglectful if he wasn't as attentive as Justin Trudeau is on this topic, because he does have some bigger fish to fry, for lack of a better term. And yeah, exactly. You can't handle seeing animals in distress. Yeah, exactly. And I do hope that she is going to eventually be rescued, but I also hope that she'll be able to be hooked back up with the transient pods. Even though the transients do hang out in that area, the ocean is really big. And so just because they hang out in that area doesn't mean they're gonna cross paths easily. And yes, Gina, it was the same one as before. That orphaned orca has been lost, or not lost, but trapped in that lagoon for almost a month now. And they've got a bunch of rescue people that are trying to fix this. So hopefully there will be good news at the end of the day. Who really knows? I have no idea, because this is a big undertaking. And so as far as the dolphin link that Andre gave us, we will probably be exploring that at the next Chatter with Statter, because we've only got about 10 minutes left. And you guys saw what an effort it was for me to just get that one link pulled up. So why don't we just consider ourselves lucky with the one, and let's not press our luck. Yeah. I don't know who's slicing onions in here, but y'all need to stop it. Verity, or adopted into the Southern Resident Pod. Can that happen? Verity, that would be an extraordinarily unusual thing for a couple different reasons. First off, check this out. Thanks to the big transient orcas and the Southern Resident orcas being in such close proximity to each other, scientists have been able to pull DNA samples from both populations, and they realized that the Biggs transients are a genetically distinct family lineage that probably separated from the Southern residents over 300 to 500,000 years ago. They have different cultures, they have different languages, they have a completely different diet. And so the likelihood of her being successfully adopted into a Southern resident pod is a little bit would be very, very unlikely. The two populations do not interbreed. Doesn't mean that they can't, they just don't. But as Andre pointed out, she doesn't eat fish, she eats sea mammals. So, and vice versa, right? And so the immediate knee-jerk reaction to your question would be, no, that's not going to happen, that couldn't happen, that won't happen. The reality is, well, we don't know that. I mean, yes, all scientific indications point to that, but I don't know. I mean, can a transient start to learn to eat fish and then survive on fish? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. And I think that it would be unethical to run that experiment willfully, right? But if that experiment happens naturally, well, then we'd get to learn from it. But it also sounds like that was a particularly older clip, and as I was just babbling things, Terry in Scotland came in with, teams are now gearing up to strap the orphaned whale into a sling, right, and use a helicopter to carry her out to sea. Well, she will hopefully find a new pod to join. The Great Escape is scheduled for 2 weeks and is crucial for the whale's survival. Otherwise, the baby is likely to die from starvation. Precisely. So, yeah, so Lady Misty, it sounds like, well, first off, because this is a channel that does pay more attention to orcas than it probably needs to, we will be following this. It sounds like in the next 2 weeks this is going to be happening. So I will be keeping an eye out for the developments on that. And yeah, hopefully she finds a new pod and hopefully she'll be able to integrate. But you know, wouldn't it be wild? I mean, and I say that pun intended, if she did end up hanging with the Southern residents and she did end up able to survive with them. And to take it to the next further, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if she could teach the Southern residents to eat seals? Because the problem with Southern residents right now is the lack of food. There are, you know, they've come out and said in the next 20 years, Southern residents are going to be extinct, or basically extinct. In the next 50 years, they will be extinct. They're just not. They're starving to death. They're starving to death. There's not enough food for them, and they're not breeding. And there's not enough of them to keep a healthy, sustained breeding population. They're not gonna make it. I mean, no one's given up on them yet, but that is the truth. And Lady Misty, so seal population is high, way higher than the Chinook salmon, baby, way higher than the Chinook salmon. And so I just have to wonder, and here we go. Terry in Scotland says the postmortem found that the 14-year-old mother was pregnant when she died. Right, now that's a Biggs transient. Now the Biggs transients populations are actually expanding. So eventually one day, what's probably going to happen is the Southern residents are going to become extinct, and the Biggs transients will basically take over the territory of the Salish Sea and the coastal waters of Oregon and Washington, and Vancouver Island. But we can hope, and here's the deal, like, here's a plot twist that maybe nobody thought could or would or should happen, and I'm not saying it could or will or should, but wouldn't it be awesome if that little baby Biggs transients got adopted into a Southern resident pod and then taught the Southern residents how to eat the seals? Because that might give the Southern residents another food source to help them survive a little bit more than they're able to survive right now. Now you have to understand, what I'm just saying here is all make-believe, right? I don't think it's possible. But a girl can dream, right? A girl can dream. And yeah, exactly, Kenny. The end game for the Southern residents has almost been written. But the end game for this little baby orca has not been written, and I do too hope that this story has a happy ending for that baby orca. Abso-flippin-lutely. All right, you guys, so Pussycat's not here to throw a 2-minute warning, and that's okay because it's not 2 minutes, it's still 4 minutes. We got a 4-minute warning here, so we're going to wrap things up, I think, because if we don't wrap it up, we might get scattered into a whole other topic. Speaking of scattered into a whole other topic, you guys, so remember on last stream we talked about curry versus chili and chili versus curry, and is chili a curry? Here's the thing I forgot to mention before. Chili doesn't have to be red, right? Chili can also be green and it can be yellow. We've got green chilies in the Colorado, New Mexico area. We've got yellow chili, which is kind of what I would call chicken chili, right? Chicken chili. Then you've got your red tomato-based chilies. Do you remember what else is red, green, and yellow? Thai curry. That's right. That's right. And you can curry favor, but you can't chili favor. All right, Shock. There you go. There you go. And Terry in Scotland coming in with things. Local tribes have named the baby Quisaheus. Okay, yeah, and it means brave little hunter. And let's see here. He uses tomatillos. All right, there you have it. Yeah, well, tomatillos can be green or yellow. And so, all right, there you go. And the mother was named Spong. All right, there you have it. So, Gina reminding me to do something that I didn't do last night, or I think the time before. So, thank you for keeping me on this short leash. Gina, everybody, I don't remember who all my mods are because I'm silly like that. I think Gina is. I know she is. I think Shock is. I know she is. I think Terry in Scotland is. I know he is. No, not Terry in Scotland. Well, maybe Terry in Scotland. But I know that that Rick is. And so for all you people who are mods and everybody that I just offended who are mods that I didn't mention, I am sorry. But I want to thank you all you moderationist mods, all you peopleist Kenny! God dang it! That's right. See, I knew I was going to offend somebody by name and names. God dang it. Rick, Kenny, Gina, and Shock. Terry in Scotland. I ain't no mod. Don't be throwing me responsibility under the bus like that. All right. Well, still, Terry, thanks for throwing down that link because we got to watch the link. And Andre, thank you so much for throwing down all the biddies and the gift subs for all the peoples and all the moderationists with the swords of no mercies and the helmets and the shields and the we don't need no batches, no stinking batches. I thank you all. I thank you all very much. But moderation is aside, you know who I also thank? Everybody who hangs out here, especially everybody who hung out here today, because we needed all the chatter points we could talk about. And Andy, I'm really sorry that we did with what we did with your topic. Yeah, but it was a good topic. We just ran with it and went down an alleyway and around a very dark corner with it. All right, so 6:30, and there we go. Butt stuff to the rescue, says Andre. That is exactly it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Hopefully we'll see each other on Wednesday. If we don't see each other on Wednesday, we might see each other on Tuesday if there's going to be an Andy Bumatai Daily Pigeon show. Fingers crossed there is. And I want to thank all y'all for hanging out and everybody for everything. I did say ran. There we go. All right. It's exactly right. Sometimes the train does run right off the rails, and let's just say we had the runs here. Yes, runs. We had the runs here. All right, y'all. Have a good one. We'll see each other in a couple days. And, take care. Eat some curry. And if you're not eating curry, eat some chili.